Hello, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but we are here. I'm joined by Coconut Brick Studios, excuse me. And today we're just going to talk about maybe some of his mocks that are going on right now that you may probably well know of Mikito, and just maybe some other mocks in general, mock building, that kind of thing. But Coconut, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. And so what's going on? What's new?
For sure. I mean, first off, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And thanks for being patient. Just so everyone knows, technical difficulties meant he let me finish my dinner really quick. So I
Man's gotta
appreciate
eat.
appreciate you being chill with that. I just had to get some food down. But yeah, I mean, things have been good. As you guys know, most of you guys probably know, I'm in the middle of two mock series right now. Working on a big Megito mock from Revenge of the Sith, and I'm working on a vehicle, a UTAT. It's kind of a large tank that takes place or is kind of seen in the battle. So I decided to build those two things in tandem as a way to produce more content because I can run two series instead of one, and it was just a way to kind of compartmentalize and kind of organize the building process because building a vehicle is tough, and building a vehicle with no instructions is even harder. So I figured if I really took the time and did my own series for it, it would give me a chance to dedicate a whole video, certain amount of days per week on just that. And so those are kind of the two things I've got going on right now.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been following along with the my keto progress, I should say. And it's so cool how you're tackling these like really complex issues like the angled bridge into the rock work and everything like that. How do you deal with like the height variation and stuff like that? So it's a really, really cool process to see, not only just as entertainment, but like just learning all the different techniques that are possible with little plastic bricks.
Yeah. Yeah. This
But
one, it's been an interesting series because just trying to get the camera angle right. Some series, like this series has been a learning series for me. Like,
mhm,
kind of like you said, working with angles, heights, and especially lighting. I've really had to kind of like Coruscant, my previous mock series was kind of me doing like I'd never done a city before, but I mean, let's be honest, a lot of those buildings were just rectangles, and that's not very hard, right? That's not advanced level stuff. So I was doing a lot of stuff that was really easy, but Magito, I'm doing a lot of stuff that there's just no. I mean, bridges going into mountains, crisscrossing each other. No one really has done that, so there isn't really a lot of
mhm.
just I haven't really seen that before, and so I've had to really like kind of teach myself how do you do that? How do you make angles work? How do you get things to support themselves? Because as you know, and a lot of people in the chat know, probably everybody, Lego gets really heavy, especially like when you're building on a large scale. And so it's not even just building this stuff, but like building this stuff and making it so it's able to hold
Mhm.
itself up. So it's been a big feels like I'm in school, honestly,
Yeah.
taking myself to school a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a good thing because you're kinda tackling new ground, so it's not something that a lot of people have done before. I mean, I can't think of anybody who's done a Mikey to Mock. I could be very wrong because there are a lot of creators out there and stuff like that, but, was that kind of like the reason for changing it from Christophsis to Mykitos, like, it's more unique, but there's also some other techniques that you could get a little more advanced with and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I decided that I wanted to do my Gito while I was building Coruscant because I
Mhm,
like to know what my next big mock is before I even start the next one. That way I can start ordering parts for it. I just like to know. And I felt like I was finally there skill wise,
mhm,
but then a lot of things happened in my life outside of YouTube
mhm,
that made me want to tackle something easier, right? Christophsis was a lot safer of a build project. It was something that there's a lot of reference material for it. There's a lot of I've had experience building city. I had a lot of those pieces. So it was kind of like a very safe option for me.
mhm,
Whereas Magito pushed a lot of the boundaries of what I could do skill wise, parts wise, and like even the minifigs, have to all be individually decaled by me.
mhm,
And so this was definitely like um I wanted because I kind of had what happened in my life happen, and then I got resettled and was like, well, I mean, there's really nothing stopping me, so I can continue on with the safe option and have a solid little series, or I can get back to what I like to do, which is pushing myself and trying to learn new things. So I was just like, Yeah, Magito is, going to be that next step for me because I get asked all the time, like, oh, you should build Kashyyyk next. You should do Scarif,
Hmm.
which is great. Those are all cool mocks, but those have been done so many times. And that's part of
Hmm.
one thing that I want to do with my channel is really focus on and try to achieve mocks and projects that no one else has really done before or is doing. Whereas a
Hmm.
lot of those other ones, I mean, they're done for good reason because they're awesome scenes and people do a good job. But I like to push the bounds of like what we see in the Lego community as far as mocks.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I heard, you change it up and say you're gonna do Maikido, I was like super excited because like this is kind of what you're known for is like pushing the boundaries and stuff like that. And not to say Christophsis was like, an easy route or easy way out or anything. Like I'm sure you still would have taken it to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I've seen a couple Christophsis mocks, that have been done really, really well. But it's like, hearing my Guido, it's like, oh, I've never seen that before. That's just a little snippet in, Revenge of the Sith. So it's like, we have reference material, we've seen it, it looks cool, but like, another one of those planets where it's like we're not really exploring too much. So I definitely think there are going to be people following your footsteps on this planet and stuff like that. But
I
even
hope
just the
so.
troopers, it's like, the Galactic Marines are like one of my favorite troopers like of all time. So like that's just another like, easy kind of like sure thing to get me to watch it and stuff like that. But yeah, so how do you think you're gonna, I guess, improve from what your last mock was on Coruscant? I know you said you're gonna be adding in lighting, and that's like a huge like kind of like step forward or thing to implement and to implement well. So what is kind of like your thought process on that? It's like, are you gonna have like a whole bunch of like lamps and lanterns and stuff? Are you gonna add explosions or like, I don't know if you want to get too much into it, if you're like saving it for a future video, but if you had anything to share.
Yeah, I think a big one is lights for sure, and another one is just like what's the right word? Just kind of structures, right? I want to build something that no one has ever seen before
Hmm.
because I have one bridge that's running straight, and then I have another bridge that crisscrosses it at an angle,
Hmm.
which having I've looked at my fair share of Star Wars and just non-Star Wars builds, and there just aren't a lot of angled builds, right? So that was a big thing I wanted to accomplish is just the visual perspective of seeing Lego at certain angles that you just don't really see. Like already I can tell, it's going to be pretty cool just looking at the unfinished secondary bridge.
Hmm.
And just like one thing I would say to anybody who's getting into mock building or who is mock building, look and see how you can build things in a very non-traditional way. Like it's not always about using crazy techniques or building something that hasn't been seen before, but like take for example, when I see a mock of like a little Star Wars village, there are people who will build the buildings at angles, and so they're all like at an angle from each other, and there are people who will line them up so they're square to each other.
Hmm.
And you could have two of the exact same mock, but the person whose buildings are at an angle is probably going to draw more attention just because our brains pick up on patterns and things even if we don't consciously recognize it. And
Hmm.
so when we see something in Lego, we kind of have our brain has an idea of how it's going to come together and what it's going to look like. And then suddenly when you change that up and show the brain something that it's not used to, it's really going to intrigue you and interest you. Because I found that I've learned this firsthand by looking at people's mocks, and suddenly they're working with angles that you don't have to work with, but they're
Hmm.
doing it to add that extra sense of realism and that uniqueness that you don't necessarily get, because it's very easy to build with right angles, obviously, because Lego is blocks and rectangles and squares,
Hmm.
and it's very challenging to be able to step outside of that structure and try and build something new. And so that's something I'm trying to explore, and I'm going to have a lot of the buildings reflect that and try and have a non-grid like layout with the city in order to give it a more realistic kind of chaotic vibe. And so, just playing with angles and trying to build things and arrange them in a way that is not typically seen in Lego form. And then,
Hmm.
like you said, the lights, I'm going to be lighting up both bridges. And so I'm going to have lamps running along the bridge. I've got a tunnel built into the mountain that I'm going to light up. And then, like you said, there's going to be explosions. I want to light up all the explosions. I have a couple of flamethrower troopers that I'm going to have in the mock, and I
Yeah,
want to light
yeah.
up their flames and like the flames that are like hitting the droids and melting them. So I want because I've lit all of my mocks up since Utapau,
Mhm.
but the lighting has always been how do I say it? Like it hasn't really added to the build. It's been there and it's made sense, but it hasn't really told a story in and of itself. Like I've had
Gotcha.
one room lit up, so like it kind of makes sense. Like, oh, there's lights in the ceiling.
Mhm.
They're lit up a little bit, but this one is really going to go the extra mile in helping to tell a story of like lighting up the entire bridge so it's illuminated differently. I'm going to be using different colors of lights to set a different tone and a
Mhm.
different vibe when you look at it.
Yeah.
Um, on the bridge, I've got yellow tints to my lights, so it gives you the very industrial, very kind of rugged vibe. And then I've got this tunnel that's lit up with green tint to kind of give you more of like an underground base or bunker kind of vibe. Just I feel like I want to use lighting to help tell more of a story and be more prominent in the mock. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the buildings because there's gonna be a lot of buildings, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the logistics of like putting enough battery packs to be able to light up that many buildings. So I don't know. I'll
Mhm.
probably cross that bridge when I come to it. But as
Mhm.
of right now, I'm at least planning on lighting up the bridges, lighting up explosions on the bridge, and like the flamethrowers and stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've seen people use a couple different like lighting sources, I guess. Do you use I think it's Light My Brick, or do you use like the fairy lights that you can get off like Amazon that are like you said in the battery pack? I've seen both and they both work really well. Some are just I guess one you can hook up to circuit board and stuff like that. I think Jay is doing that for his Camino mock. But Cheesy Studios I see use the fairy lights all the time for his like Minecraft lava and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. There's definitely multiple options. Light My Bricks is, and then the fairy lights, kind of like you were talking about, are the two most prominent ones. I personally go with Light My Bricks for the easiness of it,
Mm.
the simplicity of it, because they build everything for you. So you buy the completed light, you buy the expansion board, the battery pack. They have everything you need and they supply it, and you just have to buy it. Now, the issue there is you're limited. Here's my phone. You're limited in kind of what you can do with the lights because the lights come at a certain length and you can't make that light longer or shorter. I mean, maybe you could if you're like, an electrician, which I'm not. Whereas like the stuff that Jay does, he buys the individual components and solders and like creates his own lighting. So that allows you to be able to customize your builds a lot more. And
Mhm.
I don't get super complex with my lighting. I've been able to kind of just work around what Light My Bricks does because I don't want to have to get into like learning how to wire and solder just because I'm doing other stuff. But
Yeah.
those are kind of the pros and cons of each. It's like how much do you want to dive in and how much freedom do you need with your lighting? Because if you have this project where you're like, I need lights in all these crazy spots and battery packs over here, you
Mhm.
definitely want to like learn and invest in like figuring out how to do that. But if you're okay with pretty standard stuff or kind of working around someone else's product, then Light My Bricks is definitely a good option, which is what I go with.
Awesome. Sweet, good to know. Yeah, I've always like looked at the lighting and mocks and stuff like that. I'm just like, dang, that must be so hard to do. Like, but it sounds, you know, a little easier than I thought it was. Because when I saw Jay doing, he was soldering and stuff. I'm like, I could do that, but do I really want to do that? Like, that's just a lot of time and effort and
Right.
extra resources. So that's really cool that they make it kind of like catered to the builder and stuff like that, making it easier. Um, but yeah, I wanted to talk about your UTAT. It is looking really good. I see you have something scheduled for tomorrow,
Mhm.
like a new update for that. Um, I'm not a vehicle builder myself, but I built the ion cannon there, and that was really tricky with all the angles and stuff. But like, I feel like the UTAT is just like all tricky angles. So I'm really curious to see like your process with that, where it's like maybe you don't do a certain angle, or if it's not perfect, like doesn't matter. Just kind of pick your brain on that because vehicle building is really, really interesting.
That's a good question. um, Maybe one of the worst vehicles I could have picked to build is the UTAT because, like you said, I mean, anybody who isn't familiar with it, I would definitely recommend like looking at a picture of the UT80. It's got the most complex angles out of any Star Wars vehicle, dare I say, just because of the front. Like the back's relatively simple, but the front literally has angles in ways in areas that just don't make sense logically.
Mhm.
And it's been kind of frustrating because I've had to navigate that and figure out like how do I build this. And my thought process or kind of my building process has been kind of two main things that I focus on. The first one is just sitting down and playing with wedge plates because it turns out you can get a lot of crazy angles with wedge plates if you just sit there and kind of like it's almost like sitting there learning how to solve a Rubik's cube. You literally have to sit there and like twist it and see what works and what doesn't work. And
Mhm.
that's kind of how it is with the UT80. I've got Lego makes all different kinds of widths, lengths, and styles of wedge plate. So there really is a lot of like possibilities with the shape you can create. It's all about what shapes can I need to be combined together to get that look and how do I get those to fit together securely.
Mhm.
And that sounds kind of simple, but like really understanding and accepting that mindset is what opened me up to be able to do that. Just thinking like it's interesting how big of a factor just thinking that you can do something is. Like
Mhm.
if you sit down and you're like, this is too many angles, like I can't make this work, you're probably not going to make it work. But the fact that I've been able to like convince myself that like there is the right shape out there, I just need to find it. It kind of changed my mindset from like can I find if this works or not to like, okay, let me find what works because there's a solution out there. And it kind of takes a lot of pressure off of me of feeling like I need to come up with this genius plan.
Mhm.
It's out there. The right technique is out there. I just need to stumble upon it. And so
Mhm.
that's actually helped me a lot where I'll just sit down and I have bins of wedge plates and I just filter through them and see what works. And
Mhm.
so far it's worked out great. Like I've been surprised with how well everything's gone together. And excuse me. The second thing or thing I've been kind of relying on is focusing on this being a play scale model. There are
Mhm.
a lot of vehicle builders out there who love minifig scale, who love one-to-one detail, and I love it too. I mean, one of my all-time favorite vehicles in my collection is the Brickfall ATTE, which is just an
Mhm.
absolute masterpiece, full of detail. The guy David Buckles captured all the angles, all the interior details, and it's minifig scale. Mine isn't. Mine's more reminiscent of a play scale set. It's a little bit bigger than the 2013 or 2022 ATTE.
Mhm.
And so with that downscale in size, I'm also downscaling in detail. And that's helped a lot because now I'm not trying to capture all the different angles. I can be it's almost like looking at a sketch versus looking at a portrait, right? If you
Mhm.
see a sketch of a horse, you still know it's a horse. You
Yeah.
still appreciate it as a horse. It still looks cool, but then you see a portrait of a horse and it doesn't necessarily make the other horse no longer look like a horse. It's just that extra level of detail and care. And I'm just not because I'm running two series at the same time and this vehicle needs to fit in the mock, I'm not looking to create that masterpiece of a horse. I'm looking for something that's going to add to the build and look good, right? So I've
Mhm.
left
Yeah.
out some of those smaller angles because they're just not necessary. And I
Yeah.
think those are things that you and I and others in the chat would appreciate as Lego enthusiasts. But there are a lot of casual Lego fans who are not even going to care. Who are not even
Mhm.
going to notice.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to waste time and energy on that for things that maybe only a few people would appreciate that I'm not that to me I feel like won't make or break the build as a whole. So I've tried to
Mhm.
focus on like this is a play scale model. Let's make it look good. Let's make it function and do what it needs to do, but not have to capture like every little bend in the armor, every little,
Mhm.
speck of paint and stuff. That's
Yeah.
kind of been my main process for building it.
Nice. Yeah. And honestly, play scale, like I used to be like the whole minifig scale is the best scale kind of thing. But we're starting to build more and more mocks. I really do appreciate the play scale kind of sets and stuff like that because you can fit them into like any mock basically like that. And you don't have to do like these big, huge areas. It's just a huge space saver.
Mhm.
But also it kind of just looks a little bit better. They're still large vehicles like Lego's ATTE is still a large vehicle. And then I just finished up the brick vault ATTE and I mean it's awesome, but I'm like I can't wait to add this into mocks and I'm like it's just too big. It's just way too big. I mean eventually I will, but I do appreciate the play scalability of certain sets, but yeah, hearing your process about the whole angles and stuff like that, very similar to like kind of my process with the ion cannon, where it's just like there's like this little angle here, nobody's gonna notice, or like it's not worth the effort per se, or like because it is really hard because sometimes you want to add something and then you have to go back and change like everything else just to
Mhm.
make it work. But sometimes it's just not even possible. um, so yeah, really cool to hear about that. And everybody keep an eye out tomorrow. On Saturday, there's a new video for the UTAT coming out.
It's a live
Mm.
stream.
Oh, it's a live stream. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah,
Um,
live stream, live build.
Even better. I love
Yeah.
live streams. Not a
A
lot
lot.
of people do live streams anymore.
No, no, it's
Yeah.
especially in the Lego community, it's like it's a dying art, or not art, but like especially consistently. Like I feel like there's only because people will do the occasional stream, but back when my early days on YouTube, everybody had their weekly stream. Like I was streaming twice a week, and like now no one really streams regularly.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I did take a little bit of a break, and now I'm kind of getting back into the swing of things, like where it's every Friday I'm going to do a stream and stuff like that, whether it's like a build stream or like a live podcast like right now. But I just think it's so like important just for your channel, you know what I mean? And the engagement with the people who watch the videos, is super integral to like, keeping that community really close and tight knit and stuff like that. But also hearing feedback, that's not in like a little bit of a comment that you can respond to and stuff like that. So I wish more people did it too, because I like to raid people after the streams and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And it's so hard to find somebody like on the spot.
Right.
But yeah. So let's see. Just really quick. I want to talk about Brick World because they just announced, tickets are going on sale and stuff like that. I'm really excited because this will be my first year going to it. I got tickets and stuff like that. So if anybody's going to Brick World to Chicago, I'll see you there maybe. Hopefully I display, fingers crossed. But if I don't, then I'll just enjoy my time. But um, I know you said you're not attending or anything like that. Would you like, is it just too far, like, or it doesn't really interest you? Um, just curious to hear your thoughts about conventions.
I think conventions are really cool. Um, I think they do a lot of good for our Lego community, but like I'm at a place in my life where there are a lot of things happening outside of my life,
Mhm,
or not outside of my channel.
mhm,
And so like I don't know how to explain it, but like I started YouTube 4 years ago, and like I have had a crazy 4 years just outside of YouTube, and like making a whole trip and planning around like to go do a Lego convention just hasn't really been in the cards for me. And like I just have never been super interested in going.
mhm,
Flying, like, to me, I don't want to fly all the way out there to go look at Lego, which is kind of funny considering how much I love Lego. And I know there are going to be a lot of people when they hear that, like, oh, it's not about that. You go out to hang with your friends, your tribe, your group, right? And like,
yeah,
that's the real reason people go. It's not for the Lego. And I just don't have that.
mm,
My core group, tribe, people that I'm with is not into Lego. And so
mhm,
like I would go, and I would love to see you. I'd love to see Scott, and I'd love to see Firebird, Planet Tech, all these other people who are in our community who I've been friends with for years now. And it would be great to see you guys. But like I don't want to go and like exchange hellos with everyone and then just kind of be like, well, now what do I do? Just because I don't really have that solid group that I'm gonna go spend the entire convention with. So like I
mhm,
would rather take that money in time and put it towards something else or something different. And so
yeah,
maybe I think in a couple years, once my life calms down, I feel like I say this every year, once my life calms down, and then that never happens. So
mhm,
if it ever does, and like I'm much more stable, I would like to go and see people and get to know people. But for now, it's just not like it's so high on people's priority lists, and that's good for them, and I'm happy for them. It's not high on my priority list. It's not
Mhm.
something that like that's not important to me. And so that's kind of why I've been to one. I went to Brick Slopes in Utah, and it was
Mhm.
good. It was a good experience, but like I don't want to. I just have a lot of other things kind of going on in my life that
Mhm.
I prioritize above a Lego convention. So that's
Absolutely.
kind of why. It's just I think a lot of it is the social people like it for the social aspect, and Lego for a hobby for me is it's not really the about the social aspect. It's about the building and the Lego aspect.
Mhm. Yeah, I totally get you 100% on that. I didn't really I never really thought I would wanna go to, like, Brick World Chicago, that kinda thing, um, until I did start, talking with people. Like, I talked to Caleb, Firebird, I talked to True Squadron, great guys, and I'm not really one to, get out there and, like, try and socialize because, it's always been kind of like a weird thing for me. Like, I was the awkward kid. I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, so, like, socializing for me is that, like, "Hey, how are you? Good to see you. See you later," kinda thing.
I'm the same way.
But I guess I'm just trying to get out of my bubble, just meet new people and stuff like that, especially if I wanna do YouTube more and more and stuff like that. Not saying it's necessary or the only thing to do, but,
It
um
definitely is a big help. Like
Mhm,
I think that's one reason why I do want to go is like well, my favorite part of Brick Slopes was all the people who came up and introduced themselves to me and told me just talk to me, and I was like I was surprised that it was cool, and I think it's important like you said, like if you're going to be a solid part of the community, to be a solid part of the community, be there and
mhm,
interact and like get to know people. And it's definitely something that's important if you want to be like if you want to cement yourself or kind of solidify yourself in our community is to be present and to meet the people and to like meet in person, be able to talk and hang out. But I think I'm kind of like you where it's like I just don't have that core group of like, because you see the people who have a core group who hang out the whole time and do stuff, which is awesome, but I don't really
mhm.
have that. And so part of me doesn't want to go and like see everyone and then just kind of wander around by myself for the next two
Yeah,
days.
yeah, and, you know, deep down inside, I kinda have that fear where it's like, everybody's gonna go to their cores, and then, not that I won't feel welcome, it's more so like I just wouldn't really fit. Like, it's,
Yeah.
a square peg going into a round hole. It's just I'll just probably but that's the thing, it's like, I'm okay with that. I don't mind roaming by myself, going to a good restaurant or something by myself. Like, I can totally do that. That's fine, but I totally understand why, it may be, like, not everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. That's a just reason.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, hopefully one day, you know, I'll see at a convention or something like that. But again, like, it's totally up to you. If you don't want to go, like, that's totally fine. I'm going to Brickfest Live in Denver, Colorado on Saturday,
Oh,
and
cool.
it's not the best convention, but it's it's something I'm looking forward to on my Saturday. Just for like an hour or two, something like that.
For sure. I think I would honestly be maybe more interested if that could be my convention experience because I think sometimes because sometimes people are like, oh, why aren't you going? And it's like it's not only the convention, it's buying the plane ticket, the
Mhm.
hotel, taking time off work, renting the car, and so it's a lot of money, and
Yeah.
like I want a house, I want a family, I want to do these things with my future, and it's like one of those things is much less important than the other to me right now. And so
Mhm.
like if it was something that I could like kind of doing what you're do, drive for a day, that would be awesome, hang
Mhm.
out, go out to dinner with everyone, see everybody, look at the stuff, and then kind of be able to go back to my life instead of like cutting such a huge chunk out and focusing all in on that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you where it's like it's a lot of money. And thankfully, I've found a couple people that I'm willing to like room with me in the hotel, split the cost, get it down low. I have enough points on my credit card to where I can use those to fly round trip, at no extra
Nice.
cost to me. So like
Awesome.
it for me, it's a huge budgeting thing because I don't have the money to do that. Like I'm just gonna be real with everybody. I'm dead broke sometimes, like, with my job,
Same.
and that's okay, like, because I'm budgeting and everything like that, but I'm also looking for more and more work. But yeah, so I get that. It's a lot of money just to drop on like will I have fun? Will this be a good use of
Exactly.
like 5 days? I'm not going for 2 days. I'm going for five. So
Oh wow.
um yeah, I think it's five. I don't know. But I definitely want it to be worth my time, money, and everything like that. But
I
yeah.
like what Planet Tech said. He said, I think Coconut hits 100K, then comes and celebrates with us at a convention. Dude, that would be
Yeah.
awesome. I'd be down for that. That would
Well,
be so cool.
you say yes, but that 100K is going to be here before you know it.
I used to think so, but like now I'm like, well, I don't know when it's coming. I mean, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Who knows?
You just need to
Someday.
make a couple videos with the thumbnail being a yellow and blue background, and then you're just
I
screaming into the
know,
mic.
right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I know this is a little bit of a side tangent, but it can be frustrating on YouTube plugging along in the direction you want to go and then seeing a different direction that you could go.
Mhm.
And it's like, because definitely mock anybody who's watching, if you want to get a Lego, if you want to start a Lego YouTube channel and you want to be really big on YouTube, don't do mock series.
Yeah. I mean, yes and no, I guess. Um, you've definitely found success in it, you
No,
know.
that's true. That's true.
Um,
I think if you want success quick, because I've been doing this for 3 years now, and like it's definitely a grind doing
mhm.
it this way versus the other way.
Yeah. And I don't know. I guess just in terms of sustainability, I feel like you're growing like a community where they're going to stick around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are doing those types of videos, they're finding success, and I hope it works out for them in the long run. But I don't know if it's going to be long-term success because it's such a new kind of style and format. Like, can you keep up with that? Kind of reinvent videos every single time, that kind of thing in that style. It's a lot of work, just from an editing perspective
Oh,
too. It's like
ridiculous! I tried it,
I
and it was
yeah, not
brutal.
not fun, not fun at all. I understand why a lot of people have editors just to handle that. Like, that's worth it for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. If people want to find quick success, then kind of follow that format and stuff like that. But I'll counter with, if you want to stand out and, you know, do the slow grind for a little bit and then, do a slow takeoff, you know, do what you want to do. Slowly build and improve upon that, to where, you can kind of get to a place where, no matter what you put out, it's going to be, you know, a good video. It's not going to hurt too bad. I mean, obviously some do better than others, but um, I'm still trying to find my kind of niche. At first,
Mhm.
I thought it was alt builds, but I don't know. Maybe it's mocks. Again, that's like something I'm just experimenting with a whole different slew of things for my entertainment and because I'm curious about it, but also to see what other people are interested in too. Like, nobody really cared about me putting armor on my cat, but I really enjoyed making that video, a lot more people enjoyed the Camino build. So
Yeah,
it's
that video
fun.
did really well.
Yeah. But again, both videos I had a lot of fun making. It's just, a lot of more dog lovers, I guess.
Yeah, I think I mean, really what you said there, like the secret to true success, long-term success is to make sure you're doing what you enjoy. And
Mhm.
I got really big into like the challenge videos and trying to like copy other people's best I could. And I just got to the point where I was forcing myself to make videos. And I was like, I'd rather quit YouTube, than do that because
Mhm.
it just wasn't fun. And the whole reason I was doing this was to have fun. And my goal is to just be able to like sustainably create what it is I want to do. I don't have any desire to go viral. I don't have any desire to have 1 million subscribers. I want to get enough views to be able to fund and do what I love. And
Mhm.
I think that's why it's important to do stuff like live streaming, is because you really build a core community who is there for you every week, and just they want to see what it is you're making, not just like, oh, what's the latest challenge, or like this popped up on my recommended. Like they're coming back to your channel for you and what you create, and that takes a lot longer to build, but in my opinion, it's more rewarding. Like the
Mhm.
interactions and the cool things that have happened between me and my community are worth not pulling in extra views, because I look at some channels and I just feel like they don't have that cool experience of being in touch with their community and being a part of something greater than themselves. Because at the end of the day, not to get all philosophical and stuff, but we were put on this earth to do things with our lives and to carry out purposes and to better ourselves and those around us, not just to make money and go viral. And so that's
Mhm.
important to remember that, of like, what am I doing with my life? How am I bringing value into the lives of others? And that's honestly brought me a lot of satisfaction, instead of like, this view didn't get 100,000 views, I guess it was a failure. And it's like, you don't
Mhm.
know what that video did to someone else, or how that helped someone else through something hard, or how they learned something, or they were inspired something. And it's like, in 50 years from now, what's going to what's going to be more of an impact? How you were able to help change someone's life, or if your video got an extra 100,000 views. And I'm not saying my videos are super inspirational or anything, but I definitely have had that experience, and it's definitely helped me adjust what it is I'm seeking out of life and what it is I'm spending my time focusing on.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I kind of I try to live by kind of what you just said is, create create value, and even just like more so just bring people up kind of thing. Before I moved out here, I was a school picture day photographer. I did studio work and stuff like that. And I loved that job so much. Yeah, some, high schoolers would say some very unkind things, but that really didn't matter too much to me. I've learned a lot more curse words in other languages than I have like in my whole life, which is, at that point, it's just funny to me. But what really, kind of made it worth it for me were those one-on-one interactions with students who you could just tell they were just not in a good place. Whether it's a parent that had recently passed, or um, you know, something traumatic happened during their life, and they're just trying to get through the day. And that 30 minutes to an hour that I'm with them, I want them to feel good. I want them to feel, worth it, that kind of thing. And I think photography was a great way of helping them with that, even if they had self-esteem issues. It's like, we're all unique individuals, and we should all feel great. And that's what I try to do with my channel too, is like, I'm not here to rake in the dough or be the best of the best. I'm here to make sure somebody has a good day. Maybe a good 5 minutes. That is extremely important to me. So sorry to get like really sad and deep about it, but
No, that wasn't sad. I think that was good. I think that was great. It's good to
yeah,
dip into that kind of stuff too. You
yeah.
know.
Yeah. As long as people know that, a lot of the creators, especially in the Lego community, that is their primary goal. I think that's one of your primary goals in your videos that you make. It's,
Yeah.
it's for you, but it's also for others, and making sure everybody gets a smile out for the day that you post or something like that. So many people are so excited for a video that drops on your whenever it premieres. I just see the chat like, oh yes, we're
Yeah.
waiting for this. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's a surreal experience still,
Mhm.
because s- you know, I'm still just I'm still just Ethan. Like
Mhm.
people get so excited and so hyped over my builds, my mocks, and my videos, but like they don't see it from my perspective of, I feel I'm just me. Like, and
Mhm.
it's crazy to me. It was such a crazy feeling to experience people getting excited because over something I did, because I was like, it's just me. I'm just a guy. Like I'm not.
Mhm.
It's interesting because like I have that experience with other people, and it's like those people in my head are so special, but it's like, no, we're all just people. We're all
Yeah.
just kind of out here just doing our thing.
Yeah.
And I say that to kind of encourage anybody who wants to go do what they want to do, is like, you don't have to be a certain type of person. You don't have to have a certain kind of mold. We're all the same. We just choose to go out and pursue what it is we want to do. Make it
Absolutely.
happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, um, so since we're talking about like channels and stuff like that, I was curious to hear if you had any channel goals for the end of the year. I know some people set subscriber goals, but I don't know if you had like video goals or maybe a series goal. Did you want to try and get Mikito to a good place by the end of the year? I can't remember if you mentioned that in one of your videos, like the timeline.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I'm just curious to see kind of like where your head's at in terms of channel growth and goals and all that stuff.
As of right now, I have zero goals. I have no goals.
And that's
Um,
okay.
for anybody, like, I mean, I'm sure most people know, but like, I got divorced this year and moved across the country, and so those two things are very life changing events. And I had some other stuff happen with some mental health, and so I've had a very challenging year. And so my main goal with YouTube has been to fall in love with it again, and to kind of get back to just doing it because I love it. And so all the monetary goals, all the subscriber goals, views goals kind of went out the window, because I set those goals, but like right now, my kind of main focus and purpose in life is to just fall in love with life again, and to just like bring joy back into life, however that may be, however awesome I upload, or not awesome, however often I upload or not upload, or however well I do, because like I want to move forward and like take this as an opportunity to restructure my life and live life differently. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, I kind of had a loose goal of hitting 70,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I think I'm like 10,000 away, which could still happen maybe if
Mhm.
things pick up. But it's just my how I'm like putting my life back together and how I'm healing is more important to me right now. So it's like,
Yeah.
kind of whatever happens to me at this point is just like icing on the cake of like, oh, nice, like I made it this far, I got this
Mhm.
many. And I mean, the year's pretty much over. I do have one really cool thing. It's not it's not a goal, but I can't say too much about it. But like, something crazy is happening. It's coming before the end of the year,
All
and I'm
right.
really excited about that. Something crazy, like something that's never been seen before.
Sweet.
Um, and I'm really excited about that. And it's not. I guess I would say there is one goal. Like, there is one big thing left, and it's coming in December.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of like my main thing right now.
Sweet. Well, yeah, I think everyone listening and not listening, in fact, is on that same page with you. It's like you are the most important person, in that community in terms of everybody wants to make sure you're good. You know what I mean? Um, we don't mind, getting one video every 2 weeks. As long as you're doing what you need to and stuff like that. Because we do care, even though you know we may not know you on a personal level, but um, I'm very excited to hear about December, though. That's
Yeah,
a little bit of an exclusive kind of
yeah.
thing.
It's gonna be
So
crazy, and everybody, you're not gonna miss it. It's gonna be impossible to miss.
sweet.
Like, yeah, it's gonna blow some minds. I'm excited.
I'm very excited as well. I do have something planned for December as well. So
Like, yeah,
yeah, I'm trying to get people hyped up on it. You know what I mean?
let's do
December's
it.
a good month.
It's the time. I mean, ad revenue's up, people's
Yeah.
spirits are up, people are off
Hmm.
school, college is over, people are taking vacations. It's just, December is like the best month out of the year.
Yeah,
It's, so
I think
nice.
so too. It's just a really chill month.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You don't have to. You're not as worried about hitting the gym. You're eating good food. It's dark out at like 6, so it's like, I'm just gonna chill tonight. Like,
yeah,
I'm
right.
not gonna do anything. Just like such a low expectation month, but just a good. I think it's a needed month, especially in our culture of just constant grind.
Hmm. Yeah.
I wish there were more months like that.
Yeah, same here. I mean, it's 5 o'clock now for me, and it is already pitch black. I'm just like, well, there goes the day. You know what I mean?
I
But
know, right?
Honestly, I kind of low key like it. Same with snow, like as much
Mhm.
snow as possible. I don't mind shoveling. That's fine. I don't mind that, but yeah, I don't know. There's just some kind of like warm, homey feeling about looking outside and it's just snow everywhere, that kind of thing. I don't know if it's the Christmas spirit. I'm kind of a Scrooge when it comes to the Christmas spirit, but uh I do like the, I guess, vibe of it for a lack of a better term.
Mhm.
Yeah, cool to hear. All that stuff coming out and stuff. I set a subscriber goal at the beginning of the year, um, but now I'm not like too worried about it. The more I kind of think about it, it's just like goals are good to have, but if you don't reach them, that's okay. It's not the end of the world.
I think too, I feel like subscriber goals are starting to become more and more arbitrary
Mhm,
because with how YouTube has changed and with how it's more algorithm based, if you are doing like there's people on YouTube who are well outperforming their subscribers and people who are underperforming with their subscribers. Like it's all about, are you putting out good videos that people want to watch? That's what's most important right now.
mhm,
That's what's pulling people in because YouTube, it used to be like, I feel like it used to be much more subscriber focused, but now I see channels with much less subscribers than I have are killing it with views. Then I see channels with 500,000 subscribers who are pulling in maybe 10 to 20,000 more views than I am per video, which
mhm,
considering our gap in subscribers shouldn't really be happening, but it's just about like, are you putting out good videos that people want to watch and want to sit through? That's
mhm,
been my change. Like I know people have noticed because they've commented on my Magito updates. Like people noticed that I really changed the structure of the video and like the flow of the video. What I do, I changed it all up because I wanted to make sure the video was more watchable and people sat through the video longer because that does more good for the video
mhm,
than anything else. And so that's kind of been my new goal is to just, instead of focusing on like how many views I have per month or how many subscribers I have, I'm now focusing on like, is this video fitting this new format? Is this thumbnail fitting this new format? Because that's kind of like that's what spurs growth. I've come to notice.
yeah, yeah. If all you do is try and make one hit wonders, you're not gonna find any consistency. I think that's what I've seen with a lot of channels is, they're trying to make videos that are going to go viral, which, it usually works, but if it doesn't, then it's like a huge, like, L for them, which, it shouldn't be. But yeah, I think consistency is really important. So, and along with what you said, it's like subscribers just don't matter anymore. I've seen people with like 2 to 3,000 subscribers and they're putting out the best videos. You know what I mean? Um, so it's all a matter of like, I guess, like perspective, I guess. But the algorithm knows and it'll throw your video out there if it's good. So just have to keep on working on, just making the videos as best as you can. And then it'll come full circle for you if anybody here is trying to start a YouTube channel or anything like that. But yeah, that's just
Yeah,
my take.
I think that's definitely true. Um, I just lost my train of thought. I was gonna add to that, but shoot, yeah, it's completely gone. I
Oh,
forgot.
good. That happens
Dang
to
it!
me all the time,
I
bro.
literally like it's like how sometimes like you can like bring it back, and then sometimes you can just feel that it's gone, like it's
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
Sorry, guys, that little nugget, it's not coming back.
That happens to me all the time. I'm just like, it's gone. I'm not even gonna try and think about it anymore. I don't even know what I'm doing in the kitchen anymore. Um, so I know you've talked about you're not really a set guy anymore, which I'm kind of right there with you as I have like a wall of like Lego sets behind
I
me.
mean, I guess mine are
Um,
mostly MOCs now.
yeah,
But
I want to get to that point where it's like, I don't really, because with all these new sets coming out, like the Venator is super sick. I was super excited for it, but now that it's out, I'm like, I'll pass on that. If I really want Rex, I'll get him in the $12 set that's coming out next year. Um, even like the gunship, like it's like, oh cool, we finally have a gunship. You know, I can probably build one, just as good, maybe even better, or find a custom set that somebody else has made, like, Brick Vault, that's just making crazy stuff. So just want to hear your thoughts on like how you go about whether or not a set is worthy of your money.
Well, I haven't bought a Lego Star Wars set in almost 2 years, I
Oh
think.
wow.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy considering I'm obsessed with Lego Star Wars and all things Lego Star Wars.
Hmm.
I've gotten to the point, maybe it's only been like a year and a half. I like the last Lego Star Wars set that I remember buying were the clone packs.
Hmm.
So whenever those stopped coming out, that's when I stopped buying. Just because like this right here is so much more satisfying to me. I built
Hmm.
this, I built that, I built
Yeah.
this, I built all of this, and it's on display and I can look at it and enjoy it. Not only that, I can each one of these was a video or multiple videos. So from a
Hmm.
creator standpoint, it makes so much more sense for me to build my own stuff because I'm like doubling my content. I'm showing me building it and showcasing it. Whereas when you buy a set, realistically, you have two videos that you can make. You can make a comparison and a review. And then it's kind of useless at that point. Whereas a mock, you can build, you can film yourself making that, you can turn it into a build challenge of some kind,
Hmm.
you can do whatever you want, and then you can display it, you can take it apart and reuse the pieces for something else. Like, I mean, it's just crazy, like the potential that you have with mock building versus set collecting, because people are like, oh, how do you spend, like, you must be so rich if you're spending money on like all this money on Magito. I'm like, guys, there's parts in Magito that I used in Utapau. That was three
Hmm.
years ago, and I'm still reaping the rewards of buying those parts. Whereas my trying to look at a Lego set that I actually still have, uh I don't know, the gunships maybe. Like, yeah, I've put those in a couple videos, but that's it.
Hmm.
But like, you can keep reusing your parts that you buy from Mox over and over, and you can get so much more value. Like, I love mock building. I think that's what it comes down to. Is set building is fun, but like, what is your long-term reward? What is the long-term value you're getting out of that? And it's something that's going to sit on your shelf. Whereas a big mock, I can build it, I can take it apart, and I can build another one, and I can do
Hmm.
that an infinite amount of times. I can take that same set apart and rebuild it, but I can realistically, unless I'm you and can do those really cool alt builds, you can only just rebuild the set over and over again, right? And so there's
Hmm.
just so much more enjoyability and so much more potential for me with mocks, because my money, I feel like I'm getting more for my money as far as like experience and just satisfaction, entertainment, fulfillment.
Hmm.
Lego sets, just I could not be any less interested in them at this point. Like, don't get me wrong, like if someone wants to give me a Lego set for my birthday or Christmas, I'm gonna love it and I'm gonna
Hmm.
build it and display it. But like me personally, if I have money, I'm spending it on parts or minifigs because I can.
Yeah.
It's literally I can build any set that Lego could put out better and probably for cheaper.
Hmm.
And I get that not everybody has that same situation, which then sets make sense for them. But like for me as a content creator
Hmm.
and a mock builder, not to be cocky or anything, but like no, there's nothing that Lego can put out that gives me the same amount of enjoyment as what I can build. I can build
Hmm.
stuff that we're never going to get from them, technique wise, looks wise, lights wise, all that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. So it's just kind of a no brainer for me at this. It's almost like I've kind of leveled up
Yeah.
outside. I've kind of leveled beyond sets.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we were this close, I guess, to getting a UTAT, but you're going ahead and making it one now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like the purpose behind Lego, I feel is, you're not limited to the sets, like you're limited to your imagination, like build whatever you want to build.
Mhm.
Kind of like as long as you have the parts, you can build whatever you want. I and with the Lego sets, like I find myself buying fewer and fewer, but the ones that I am buying are the battle packs where it's like I don't really care about the builds, I care more about the figures.
Yeah, you can use
Um
those in your mocks.
yeah. So and then same with like the UCS sets. I have two of them and I didn't purchase either one of them. The Millennium Falcon behind me I got because unfortunately there was a death and it was given to me. So um that's the only reason why I have the UCS sets. I'm not going to spend $700-800 on a something that's just gonna sit there. Like, I've looked at it like multiple times and like, dang, I could use these parts for, a custom build or something like that. I'm like so close to just tearing it apart. I mean, I'd probably get better return if I just sold it once it retired or something like that.
Mhm.
And then I could buy more specific parts instead of just having a whole bunch of like maybe parts that I wouldn't use. But it just takes up so much space. Like, so,
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
a big thing I didn't touch on, is space.
yeah. My Star Destroyer, like, it just takes up way too much space. And like, I wanted the Venator, like, that thing's as big as that. Where the heck am I going to put it? So it's
Right.
like,
I
um,
feel you. I sold my UCS Star Destroyer a month ago, and I got 700 and something for it. I don't remember what I've got, but like my monthly budget for YouTube is
mhm,
$150, and
mhm.
$150 goes into 800 quite a few times. So that was literally like months and months of content right there,
Yeah.
like months of content. And so that to me is like, that's what I'm hearing in my head. It's like, because you and I talked about this. You were actually one of the first people who kind of like turned me off the Venator, because I put that video out on my Patreon talking about it, and you went on and kind of was talking about your feelings, and I was like, yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Of like, I honestly feel like at this point, and this is just my perspective, Lego set buying is more about the culture than the sets. It's about getting the new set along with everybody else. It's about going to the
Mhm.
Lego store. It's about displaying the box. Like, I hear people talk about like their massive backlogs, and I'm not calling out Planet Tech or anything. I know he's got his massive backlog, but like, he's busy, he's got stuff going on. But like,
Mhm.
there's so many people who are just buying and buying and buying and not building, and it's like, what are you collecting? Like, are you really collecting Lego at that point, or are you just collecting boxes because you're
Mhm.
not building it, you're not doing anything with it?
It's an
And
investment.
yeah, if they want, and that's the thing, is like, it's not about bad or good, right? It's not like
Mhm.
I'm saying what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just saying what they're doing is so uninteresting to me, because it's like, I honestly feel like Lego has shifted that way of now, of like, you collect sets for the investments and for like for like kind of like the culture, but I
Mhm.
just see a lot less building. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm on social media less, but I just hear more and more people talking about like, oh, I have all these backlogs. And I'm like, well, maybe not buy stuff and build. And then part of it's Lego's fault for putting out so many sets. But I don't know. I just think like, there is a lot of like FOMO when it comes to buying sets.
Mhm.
A lot of people, like, because I know, because I was there, right? I
Yeah.
was like, if I don't get the like, when they announced a Venator was a UCS Venator, there was not 1 second of like, am I going to get this? There was only, I have to have that as soon as everybody else has it. I have to,
Mhm.
like, I'm a Clone Wars fan. Like, I gave myself all these reasons. And then I was like, I don't care if I have that or not. I don't want that. And like, what I have now is so much like, take for example, I was gonna buy the Venator. I bought myself a brand new pair of really nice shoes and a suit, and it
Yeah.
cost less than buying the Venator. Like,
Yeah.
nice suit, nice shoes that I'm gonna get a lot of uses out of, or
Mhm.
something that's gonna get dusty on my shelf. Like,
Mhm.
it's honestly like, honestly, Lego sets are a ripoff at this point. I wouldn't recommend people buying them because they're so
Yeah.
expensive. For what you're getting, it's cheaper to go on Rebrickable and download and buy instructions on a gun chip or an ATTE, or get it off of Brick Vault. Like, your money is much more well spent than people are like, but the minifigs, go to Bricklink, go to
Mhm.
eBay. Like, if people want to be open-minded about it, there are options out there. But
Yeah.
that being said, if you want to collect the sets, go for it. Like, I don't want anybody to leave this and feel like Coconut's gonna judge me because I buy Lego sets still. That's just, it's not my flavor, right? It's not
Mhm.
my cup of tea. So
Yeah.
that's kind of been because I honestly feel like I had the wool pulled over my eyes for many years of like, I have to have these Lego sets. And I'm like, Lego is not like, in my opinion, Lego cannot give us, there's no Lego set that's worth $800. Like, do you get $800 is so much money. Like, that can pay people's rent. That's like a month of groceries. That's months and
Uh-huh.
months of my budget for my business.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but unless they're giving you like a 1-to-1 scale, I don't know, giant walker or an entire battle full of minifigs, don't spend $800 on a Lego set ever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's just common. Like, that's just like I don't know. there's the AT-AT is not going to give you what $800 could give you in other stuff. Like there's
Yeah.
just no way. You can't convince me.
Yeah. Just kind of like thinking, like let's say someone wanted to start a YouTube channel, all right, and they had, let's say, $1,000. They're like, oh, I could get a UCS set, review it, live stream build it. That's a couple videos right there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, then what are you going to use for your audio, your camera, your lighting? Are you
Exactly.
going to pay somebody to do graphics, or are you going to do it yourself? That money that you put into the set is not worth it. Like, it's worth it for maybe like a week or two's worth of like content, but after that, it's like, 850 bucks will get you a good camera quality, great lighting, great audio, and then you'll still have some left for sets or some bricks or whatever. Um, but yeah, it goes a lot longer with different stuff.
I
Um,
feel bad. I feel like everything I say, I feel like these are shots fired at Planet Tech, and they're not in any way like I I watched your entire vlog, or I watched your vlog of when you bought the three AT-ATs. It was great. I loved it. Like, yeah, I think what, because he dropped a really good comment right here where he said, I do get you though. I think as a Lego fan, you go through stages, wanting every set,
mhm,
wanting retired stuff, wanting to get into MOCs. That's my Lego journey in a nutshell right there. Because I started out, if you go back to the beginning of my channel, I did
mhm,
reviews. I bought all the sets that I wanted to have as a kid that I couldn't.
mhm,
And then I bought those sets and like enjoyed them. But then you buy those sets and you're like, well, I want something for those sets to go into. I want to recreate the battle that this tank was in. Then
mhm.
you start mock building and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much more fun than building Lego sets. Like,
Yeah.
I want to do this more often. And then you're like, okay, but I need this old random set from like 2013 that I never got, or I need this set. And you start buying more retired sets.
Mhm,
And then because they're retired, those sets aren't consistently coming out. So you eventually get, like, I have every Lego set I could ever want. Like, every Lego set I've bought already.
mhm,
And so I don't really have anything. I mean, there are a couple that I would like to get, but I have like the big ones, the good ones. And
mhm.
so now it's just like, well, now I just want to mock build. That's all I want to do. And
Yeah.
that's where the fun is. That's where I get the most fulfillment, the most enjoyment.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe Planet Tech enjoys his three AT-ATs more than I enjoy my Hito, but I'm just kidding.
I mean, there is something to be said, like, if, the 3 AT-ATs are going into a mock, or just, like, you just want them, and, like, that's what you wanna do with it, that's totally fine, you
And
know
he
what I
got
mean?
one of them for free too. So he
Oh,
like,
that's
he
awesome.
played the system. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's sweet. Then in that case, worth it,
exactly. You
100%.
have to at that point.
Exactly. Um personally, would it work for me? No, but I'm not everybody. Everybody's not me, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm at that stage to where, like, I've gotten all the sets that I missed out on, or at least the figures that I've missed
Yeah.
out on, and now I'm kind of just, I want to make my own stuff, because it's just, it satisfies me a little bit more, and I guess in a different way. Um, So I guarantee you next year the Falcon won't be behind me. You know what I mean? Something else, like a custom build that I did, would be behind me.
Yeah. Your
And
Zillow Beast or your Stun Tank or something.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's one of my goals. It's like I wanna build a minifig scale Zillow Beast. That's like, it's down the line. It's gonna be
Mm.
huge. But um, that's something I want to do. And you know what? I could probably do it for $850.
I bet you could do it
Um
for less.
Yeah, exactly. Or I could have the vendor sit there collecting dust, and it's a great
Exactly.
conversation starter, but, like, I don't like people coming into my home. So,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, no, that's the funny thing is like, oh, conversation starter. It's like, dude, nobody steps foot in my house except for my family, and they already know what I have. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not like, especially like too, if I had a girl over, the last thing I want is a wall full of Lego. Like, that's not a conversation I want to be starting with
Yeah.
her. So
I
yeah,
guess, I Planet Tech also said the army stuff, like,
yeah.
army building.
I still I still buy battle packs and stuff.
Yeah, I love army building. I mean, but at a certain point, it's like, okay, I'm good. I think I got, oh, 6 of the Snow Trooper battle packs.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? I'm looking back, I'm like, that's too many. I would have been good with, less than that. I think I got 4 of the 332nd battle packs, and I'm like, okay, that's good. I don't need any more. Like, I don't need 100. I don't need like thousands of clone troopers. Like, that does nothing for me. It's
I,
cool.
yeah. No, I agree. I think too what happened is like I almost feel like hoarding culture has entered the Lego culture recently over the last
Yep.
few years. Like I've noticed now when it's release day, people like buy out like tons and tons of the smaller sets and like take pictures and put them on Instagram, like flexing, which is cool. I'm not saying there's anything morally wrong with that, but I am also saying like, did you take that picture and do this because you wanted those sets or because you wanted to take that picture and kind of have that cool moment?
Yeah.
You'll see people laying on boxes of like 50 of a battle pack or they buy all, and I'm like, are you building something? Are you doing
Mhm.
something with that? Because some people claim investment, but like as a seasoned reseller of Lego who's been doing it for years, you have to wait years to make any money back. And when you
Mhm.
do, you're not making $1,000 back. You're making
Yeah.
maybe a few $100s back, especially if the sets are cheap.
Mhm.
And so I feel like that culture has started to enter our community of like it's almost like henhouse syndrome. It's like you got to go out and you just go clear off all your Walmarts of like the 332nd battle pack comes out. We're getting them all. We're buying them all, and we're going to take that cool picture. And it's like, well, then what? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing next? Are your 50 332nd clones ever going to be used? Are the sets ever even going to been open? I don't know. It's interesting to see that kind of flood into the community of like that's kind of like it's almost like people are collecting the experience or the set and not
Mhm.
necessarily like they're not I just feel like I almost feel like there's less building going on in the Lego community somehow. There's still a lot, there's still tons. I
Mhm.
get tagged all the time on Instagram of people's MOCs and I love it, but I also feel like there's a lot of just buying, which
Yeah.
not saying is
I
wrong. I just an observation.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's another thing I also observed was, a lot of these big channels are doing less building, like creative building, and more of like they're buying like every UCS set that came out in the last 5 years, and they're building those, and that's the video. And it's like that's not really, intriguing to me, maybe
No,
to somebody else, but um, you know,
it's kind of that shock value.
yeah, kinda just like, oh, or they're talking about the sets and they don't even have it, that kinda thing. I see a lot of those channels where they'll just roast a set and, that's quality content, It's not for me, like, I have enough like, negativity in my life. I don't need to hear somebody, like, talking crap about, like, how this UCS set came with 2 crappy figures.
Or there's helmet holes and no waist cape.
Yeah,
Like,
like, I could care less. That's what, Clone Army Customs or Jonak Toys is for. It's like,
yeah.
I know not everybody has the ability to do that, but, it's options, So
I feel like though, if you care enough to complain, you should have the ability. Like, I don't know,
Mhm,
because I follow Lego.com on Instagram, and it's
mhm,
like uh um you open up like one of their pictures and like it's just like, why did you put helmet holes? Where's the waist cape? And it's like, why? Like, I don't know. Like, I want to have a life that's so good that like my issues with that, those are my issues in life. Those are like my
yeah,
problems in life. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I couldn't care less what some late toy company is doing to their minifigures. And it's
mhm.
funny because people will come into my streams and be like, what do you think of like the helmet holes or the waist capes? And I'm like, nothing. I I'm more concerned with, living and like these other things. And it's just so funny because people, and I feel like it's getting worse. And I don't think it's going to get better, unfortunately,
Uh-huh,
because society as a whole, I feel like has just become more critical and more negative. And like, you're never get like, I saw one post, someone had put a side by side of Fox and then the Lego Fox and like pointed out all the differences. And it was like, it was printing. Like they didn't put the white where the white was on his actually body and they
mhm,
had red instead of white in this spot. And I was like, that's wild, man.
yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like I don't know, and I get people care, and I think a lot of it is. I feel like people have been stirred up into anger towards Lego of like, well, if you guys say only the best is good enough, and I think now they're kind of a lot of it is them just kind of biting back because of Lego said that. And I mean, I guess if they want to do that, they can. But like at the end of the day, I don't want to put that much of my time and energy and life into the decisions and choices of a toy company. But I just feel like it's become, and I think there are people who have started to see that and are like writing it and using it for content and like, let's do this. Cause I'm like, I'm kind of like you. I want people to come to my channel and I don't roast. I don't tear things down. I try to do only positive things, which, is fine. I enjoy roasting. I enjoy getting roasted myself, but like, I just feel like as a content creator, that's not what I'm here for. I enjoy other people's content that do that. But like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of people are just like trying to ride that wave.
Yeah. There's definitely like, outrage, kind of like clickbait, that kind of thing, where it's like, you're going to get a lot of views if you're calling out something Lego did wrong. Like you, the little guy, the consumer, is calling out this multi-million-dollar company because they didn't do something to the best of their abilities.
Well, not only that, but like you as a niche consumer, right? It's not even it's not even the casual. It's the people who are expecting Lego to be like Ferrari and put out like, because Lego's not Ferrari, right? Lego, they're not in that game. And so it's like there's these things that Lego messes up on or makes mistake on. Obviously, Ferrari, if you buy a Ferrari and like your wheels aren't aligned or your carbon fiber scratched already, you're going to be pissed, rightfully so, because you bought a Ferrari. And it's like, I just don't think Lego is Ferrari. Like, I just think they're a toy company. But I think some people do see them that way.
Yeah. It's kind of similar to, I was really into, obviously my career path is photography and videography. And I went through that phase that every photographer goes through where it's like, it's all about the gear. Like, what camera are you using? Like, what's the megapixels? You got a good glass on it? Like, stuff that really doesn't matter at all. And, everybody was complaining about like, oh, Canon didn't add this, or like this isn't in this version of this camera, which I understand more so looking back on it, where it's like, this is people's livelihood. And like, you're asking people to pay for a newer version, but you're not adding in the basics of it, which, but I kind of compare what's happening now to what happened then, where it's like, what, I got out of that kind of like, arena or niche or whatever, just because of like all the negativity. Like, I don't care. Like, there's some things that you should roast the company on. For example, when I bought my camera back in the day, it didn't come with 24 frames per second, and that's like ridiculous. That's something to be really upset with. And you know what, they added it into a firmware update and now we're all good. But it's not the same as like, if Lego doesn't add a waist cape, that's not going to affect my financial income or my ability to do my job or something like that.
If anything, it gives the smaller sellers an opportunity because now they're selling more waist capes or they're selling more Rexes. So it's like, why can't we look at it from that angle of like, oh, I feel like the Lego Star Wars third-party seller market has exploded.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome because those are little guys. Those are people who I want to support. I would much rather give money to Camino Bricks than Lego.com. So it's like, I mean, we're just getting more and more, and Camino Bricks isn't going to rip us off like Lego is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just funny.
I agree. And sometimes these third parties will do it better.
Dare I say all the time.
Shots fired. All right. Well, I also wanted to, if you're cool with it, we open it up to like a Q&A to everybody who's stuck around for an hour and 15 minutes. Any questions for me or Coconut, for both of us. But yeah, just like on projects or just, you can ask us if the helmet holes bother us again. Coconut is getting frustrated with Lego. I think we all are.
I mean, honestly, no, I'm not frustrated with Lego. I'm frustrated with the people micro analyzing Lego. Like, to me,
Yeah.
I don't lose much sleep over Lego. I feel like there are people in the community who lose sleep over Lego and their choices. Me, I
Mhm.
couldn't care less. It mattered to me more when I was more reliant on them. Like, Lego as a company could fall under today. That's not going to change anything for me
Mhm.
because I have so many. Like, obviously, it would be devastating. Like, that would be really sad, and I wouldn't want that. But like, if I never bought another Lego part again, I would still have tons of parts to be able to build with. I'd
Yeah.
still be able to. Obviously, it would be harder, and like, I would still have hoops to jump through and like figure things out. But like, I've gotten to a point where it's like Lego can do whatever they want. I know how to get my decal figs. I know how to get my decals. I know where to get my parts, and so
Mhm. Whoa.
Lego can, Lego could start making Barbies and put them into the Star Wars sets. I don't care. Like, it's not gonna
Yeah.
change anything for me.
At the end of the day, the sets are targeted for kids. And that's fine. That's what they're going to continue to do. But
Yeah,
yeah. Someone asked, how was dinner? How was the dinner?
dinner was so good. I had it's a new recipe I've been tweaking, kind of trying to hammer down. So it's curry chicken and rice with carrots. So it's
Oh,
pretty
nice.
simple. I put it out. It's on my Patreon.
Hmm.
It was one of the episodes of Coconut's Kitchen. It's just so simple, but it's so good, and it's pretty nutritious. It's got a lot of chicken, rice, and carrots. It was good. I'm actually going to eat some more after this because I'm still
Nice.
hungry. Yeah,
There
it
you
was really
go.
good. Thanks for asking.
I enjoy the Coconut's Kitchen videos.
Those are fun.
It gets me wanted to, like, get my chef's hat on and start cooking again. Because I used to do that for a few years where,
Uh-huh.
um, different types of restaurants. I used to work at a Dickie's barbecue pit, if you've ever
Ooh,
heard of
nice.
that place.
Yeah, no Dickies.
It was pretty good. I mean, I learned a lot about the basics of barbecuing and all that stuff. And then I worked at a restaurant. I was a line cook. I
Mm.
did fry and salads and stuff like that. Um, but that was a lot of fun for sure. I learned a lot, but I found myself eating less at home and wanting to like eat out more because I didn't want to cook because I'm like, I cook
Yeah,
all day. I don't want to cook more when I get home.
I feel that.
But now that I'm out of it, I'm just like, oh man, now I gotta, cook some crazy stuff. Like, yeah, I think last week I did like an elk where I seared it and then threw it in the oven for a little while, and it was just so
Hmm.
good.
Dang, that does sound good.
Let's see. I'm such a slow reader. I'm so sorry.
All right, good.
um, Here from Planet Tech. What does a good end of the year look like for you guys, both YouTube and personal?
Um,
Hmm.
YouTube wise, a good end of year would be to have that thing I was talking about go off well and really make a splash. And then I think uh, just to have my Magito updates really kind of hit their stride and be pulling in like 40 to 50,000 views an update. That's kind of where I'd like to be. I'm getting there. I'm getting close. Some of them
Mhm.
have only hit like 20,000, but like, some are up to 45. So I'd like to really be, because I don't know. You've never done like a full mock series, right? Like
No,
long,
no.
long term. So typically what I've noticed, especially like with Coruscant, it starts off to where like the updates fluctuate of like you get a lot one week and then not as much, and then like you kind of have to like really, it's like a TV show, you have to really like build up to something and get your audience interested, and then by like the mid series you start to pull in like consistent numbers. You've got a lot of people hooked, and so I'm trying to like get through that beginning where it's a little up and down and kind of get that consistency with the updates and like people tuning in and stuff.
Mhm.
So that's YouTube. But like personal, I've got some stuff. Obviously, I can't say on YouTube, but like I got some stuff that I'm excited about personally.
Mhm.
Um, I would like to I don't know, just be happier. I mean that sounds very generic, but like I don't know if you saw, but I posted on my social media about some mental health stuff that I have been
Mhm.
dealing with, and like this is the first year that I've really been able to like free myself from that, and so I'm really excited and really hoping to just like experience life and feel very happy about it and feel very hopeful, because that was never really something I got to experience growing up and for most of my life, was to really be hopeful and to really just be happy about life. And so I'm excited to be able to finally do that and just be happy and like be happy and not have this weight or this thing in the back of my head that's there of like, you're happy now, but you know what's coming because it always came. But like now that's finally gone. So I guess that's not so much of a goal, but just like a mindset I want to continue to have and focus more on having, is just like wake up every day and be happy that I'm alive,
Mhm.
because that is something that we as a society are going away from. I look and I see more and more people, I think, who are generally waking up not super happy to be alive and just not super happy in general, whether we realize it or not. And a lot of that we can't change, jobs and with the current, I don't want to get into like, the political society and stuff, but like it's a rough time, and
Mhm.
so I really want to try and like focus more on doing what I can do to be happy. Because like if you're not happy in life, you got to make some changes, because that's why we're here, is to be happy and to, like I said, fulfill our purpose in life. So
Mhm.
that's been mine, is to kind of step away from the grind of like how much money you're making, how wealthy you are, how well you're doing, all these things, and just like, what does happiness look like? What does being happy every day look like?
Yeah.
That's my stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page, personal stuff, as you, where it's, I want to find more happiness. Because I've been in the lull, and that's another reason why I haven't been streaming.
Mhm.
Is just because I was I didn't feel like it. I also didn't want to bring that negative energy to the channel.
Yeah.
And I'm not a negative guy. But uh, but when I do get in kind of like my dips, like they're pretty low. So um working on myself is like a huge part of my personal end of the year goals. And I think I've made some pretty big strides, so I'm pretty proud of myself so far. Obviously work's never really done, so I'll be working on it for the rest of my life, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And then as far as YouTube, I just I'm really striving for consistency. One video a week. And I uploaded last week or last on Saturday. I'm going to be up all night making sure I get a video out tomorrow. And every Saturday, and then stream almost every Friday. Next week is Thanksgiving. Probably not
Mhm.
going to stream. I got family coming in, so it's like,
Yeah,
family is more important,
definitely.
in my opinion. And then um yeah, with that, it's like, it was like, oh, I want to get to 10,000 subscribers and stuff like that. And it's just like, do I really want that? Or do I want to, like, the ability to be like, I got 10,000 subscribers? Like, it doesn't really hit the same way I thought it would, when I first started my channel. Once you hit 1,000 subs, you're like, okay, cool, I did it. Here's the next outrageous goal. It doesn't matter, at least to me. So if I hit 10K, cool. If I don't, it's not going to hurt me or my drive to keep creating. Um, I'm more impressed with the watch time hours and the views.
Mhm. That's where
You
it's
know,
at.
yeah. So um, yeah, that's for me as well. Great question, Planet Tech.
Yeah, that was a killer question.
This one's a little more tame, and I think we can answer relatively easily. Kanan asked what our favorite video game was.
Mine's got to be. That's actually harder than I thought it was going to be, because I always said Republic Commando,
Uh-huh.
but like I don't play Republic Commando very much anymore.
Mhm.
Honestly, like I don't have a favorite video game. What I enjoy is so I live with my family right now, and one of
Mhm.
my favorite days of the week is Friday, because me and my brothers get together and we play video games. And so it's
Mhm.
like, it's not the fact that I'm playing video games, it's that I'm hanging out with them and playing with them.
Yeah,
So it's hard to
just
say
one thing.
favorite, because like I love playing, we play Call of Duty Ghosts,
Mhm.
or what's it called? Black Ops.
Oh,
Black
okay.
Ops. Uh,
I was like, Ghosts? I'm like
Sorry, yeah, I'm not very good when it comes to names, but I think it's
Oh,
Call of
save
Duty
here, save
Black
here.
Ops 2. It's like one of the older ones.
Yeah, one of the best ones,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's one of the best ones. And then we play Halo Reach, which
Oh, Yeah.
those two
Uh-huh.
games are like, we have so much fun, but like neither, like Call of Duty Ghosts or oh my gosh, Black Ops 2 is not my favorite, anywhere near to my favorite, but it's the fact that I'm playing with them. So
Yeah.
it's, I don't really have a favorite video game just because I don't ever sit down and play by myself anymore. It's not fun, not something I want to do. But like when I'm playing with someone, those two are my two favorites to play.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I'm right
zombies.
there with
Zombies is
you.
a lot of fun.
Um, my girlfriend's not much of a gamer, but I did get her into Mario Party, which I kind of
Oh,
hate
dude.
because I hate that game so
What?
much.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
I just get frustrated, and on top of that, I always win. And it's not fun after that. I really want her to win, and I really try, but it's hard. But I guess my favorite game was, or it still is, Rainbow Six Siege. I still
Oh.
watch. The majors just happened a couple days ago. So I watched the esports for that. I used to do like a show and podcast, all this stuff. Like I ran a pretty big community on a Discord for it for a couple years, and that was a lot of fun. Just because like we loved the game. It was with me and two of my friends.
Mhm.
So that's kind of why it's like my favorite game. It's like just because there's a lot of history behind it, and I can still watch it and enjoy it. Um, but playing is a whole different thing. I don't really play games much anymore.
Mhm.
Um, I'd rather watch somebody else play it, as weird as that is to sound. It's
I
kind of
get
how
that.
I always was growing up. I'd rather watch my friends play the new Final Fantasy or Dark Souls game, and I'd just be really into it, but I can't play it. So yeah, definitely the social aspect is a huge thing for me too. It's like Halo's kind of getting back to being good. So Halo Online, Halo Infinite. Um gonna start playing that with my friends a little bit more just because, it's something to do. Not because I'm inherently interested in the Halo franchise, but more so just wanted a game with the boys, just like
Yeah.
we did in COVID.
Yeah. The good old days.
Yeah. Oh, Ark is a good one. That's a great one. All right. And then if we had 1,000 battle packs, of which battle pack though do we get to choose, or can it be a different set of battle
The
packs?
should we just say 1,000 battle packs of our favorite battle pack, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Because like if it was 1,000 battle packs of like the Snowtrooper battle pack, I'd honestly just leave them somewhere because I don't I don't know. If it was my favorite, I'd probably. I mean, that's a hard question to ask because I don't want 1,000 of anything. So
Yeah.
I'd probably just get rid of most of them, give them away, sell them.
Yeah.
Probably keep maybe like 10, but like 1,000. That the 1,000 is too much of anything to store.
Yeah. I mean, the OG P2 clone pack,
Oh
I
yeah.
think I would want one because it's pretty diverse. You get
Mhm.
Shock Trooper, two Regs, and then the Star Corps. And then also like, just to give away. That makes me feel good, is like giving away stuff to people.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1,000 battle packs. Sure, let's do it. Let's go the oldest battle pack, and then you know,
I guess the battle pack I would have picked is the 84 or 8014, the phase one, the original phase one, only
yeah,
phase one, plain phase one battle pack. That one's just goaded. Like
yeah, the clone one.
nostalgia, what you get out of it, such a good one.
Mhm. Yep. I remember, cutting the fins off with an X-Acto knife and sharpieing all over
Oh
them
yeah,
and
dude.
stuff
I
like that.
painted mine.
It was a great time, and I don't regret it.
That's a funny thing. People are like, "Oh, like my terrible sins." And I'm like, "Dude, I was so happy. I had a shock trooper, I had a Kashyyyk trooper, I had like
Mhm.
a Geonosis trooper. Like I was in heaven. Like what
Yeah,
more could I want for my young self than to just be happy?"
yeah, exactly. And that's what I kind of miss with the community nowadays. It's like nobody wants to mess up their clones anymore. It's okay. Cut the fins off. Like I see some people on like the custom clones subreddit where they'll X-Acto knife off the blue for the 501st troopers to make it a regular trooper. I'm
Oh,
like, that's
well.
so cool. That's so much work. That is
Yeah,
so
it
much
is.
work. But honestly, like, they're living in the good old days right
Right.
now. So, um, Okay, another generic question, but I'm really into movies. What's a favorite movie? I guess,
Right?
like, not Star Wars? I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. I mean, Star Wars, to be honest, Star Wars has never been like my favorite movie. I
Yeah,
love watching them, but like when you're going just movie, you can't pick. I almost feel like, and I don't know, maybe this is for you, but I almost feel like you got to pick a standalone movie. Like it's so hard. Like the
mhm,
Two Towers, I love the Two Towers, but how could you say the Two Towers is your favorite movie when it's so reliant on one and three to like bring the whole
exactly.
story together?
Yeah.
So like my favorite movie is Kong Skull Island because
Oh, okay.
I love the story. I love giant beasts fighting, obviously, but like I love the narrative. I like the underlying narrative of like the captain, the commander who doesn't want to go home, who like drags his troops off and has to deal with them slowly being killed. I love the music. The music's awesome. The
Mhm,
soundtrack's super good, and I love the visuals. I like nature. I love being out in nature. That's like one of my favorite things. So, and that whole video is like a glorified walk in like this magical world with this
mhm,
awesome music. Tom Hiddleston is one of my all-time favorite actors. So is John Goodman. They're
mhm,
both in the movie. You got Samuel L. Jackson, Brie Larson. Um, it's just such a good cast, such a good like stand. Like I feel like it's so hard to find a good movie that's just a good standalone movie. You can watch that movie.
mhm,
You don't have to watch another one after it. You don't have to watch a TV show. It's good from start to finish. It's got action. It's got a good story. It's compelling.
mhm.
I don't know. It's just all around like one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, standalone movie that's not relying on anything. Um, I guess it it really depends for me. Like, I have a lot of, like, different categories for movies. It's like, okay, like, my favorite movie for cinematography, for writing,
Yeah.
for acting, this, that, the other thing. But I guess the first thing that comes to my mind right now is Pacific Rim. Um,
Ooh.
really, that's just, like, that's my favorite kind of like beat 'em up action monster movie. It kind of has a little bit of everything in there. It has
Mm-hmm.
sci-fi, it has
Yeah.
like, just crazy fight scenes, action. But also like visually just super appealing. Like I really love the style of that movie. And how they did a lot of things practically and all that stuff. But also has that hint of like cheesy action, which I
Mm-hmm.
really, really love. I love a bad movie. Like those B movies that came out in like the 90s when camcorders first came to consumer shelves. Everybody was making movies and it was
Yeah,
fantastic. So yeah, that's that for me.
that's a
Uh,
good one. That's a good one.
oh, All Quiet on the Western Front. That's an intense movie.
That
That's
one is
very,
intense. And I think that's one reason, like, given what I've gone through and kind of lived with, I tend to gravitate towards movies that aren't heavy. Like that,
Mhm,
Kong Skull Island really allows you to take a step away from yourself in your life. Whereas like I love war movies and I love documentaries, but those can get kind of heavy. Like
mhm.
those will weigh on you. And sometimes I tend to use movies as a way to escape.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
most people do. And
I'm the
so,
same.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why
those
sci-fi and action's kind of like the top. Maybe even comedy. Comedy's up there too.
oh yeah, comedy's good.
I can't do horror movies though.
Oh,
I can't really blame it on anything except I'm just a big old scaredy cat.
yeah.
uh, all right. Well, I think that will do it. I want to thank everybody for coming out and hanging out, watching and stuff like that. Listening, great feedback and questions. I was kind of looking at chat through the whole time. Um, but just want to let you all know we appreciate you, and you know
Definitely.
anything you want to say before we sign off.
I just want to say thanks again for having me on. It was
Mhm.
good. I feel like we had some great dialogue. I appreciate you taking the time to like do this and be consistent
Oh
and
yeah,
like I
absolutely.
mean, it's good to see people out there trying to like do something similar to me out here on YouTube. So it's nice to see another person out there. And I
Mhm,
appreciate, you taking the time to do this for people. I mean, there might be people out there who didn't have anyone to talk to or didn't have anything to do on a Friday night. And so the fact that you're doing this is cool.
mhm.
And so just want to say thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
Thanks
happy to
for the
do
chat.
it. And likewise, thank you for taking the time to come on. And yeah, so we'll have to do this again sometime if you're ever
Absolutely.
available. Um, but yeah, Thank y'all so much. Be on the lookout for Coconut Stream tomorrow for the UTAT. I'll have a video coming out. I won't do a premiere or schedule it or anything like that. I'm just going to upload it. So if you're not notified, get notified. that's my pitch. Leave a like on the stream too, because I forget to say that. But yeah. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and we will catch you in the next one. See ya.
Peace.